Yeah, I do a lot, still ain't done enough. Level up, level up. Tryna see a check, I'ma run it up. Yeah, I do a lot, still ain't done enough. Never lose, should've had better luck. I'ma wake 'em up from a slumber. Money ain't nothing but a thing, and the level ain't nothing but a number. Life ain't nothing but a game. Level up, level up. Never lose, should've had better luck. Tryna see a check, I'ma run it up. Yeah, I do a lot, still ain't done enough. I wanna ball. Waking up meant that he gave me a chance and I'm rolling the dice. I do it all. Living like I'm trying to go for the platinum trophy in life. Who can you call? Really nobody, so you should just follow me on your device. And know if she chillin' with me, then it's bound to be chemical X and the sugar and spice. Game in the system, but game is the hobby. I'm probably cocky, but hot as wasabi. I mean, if it's beef, then you know where to find me. My because is ready and so is my body. You should be running and telling your posse and what's in the speakers and what's in your potty. And she trying to kick it, but this ain't karate. Just keep that shit down while I'm watching Tsunami. I ain't saying I'm a super nerd, but I told you when we got involved, my idea of a perfect date is a PlayStation and some alcohol. I was role playing on GTA. I'm a good guy, but I got it all. If the world should end, be the first to leave, but the last of us acting naughty, dog. Level up, level up. Never lose, should've had better luck. Tryna see a check, I'ma run it up. Yeah, I do a lot, still ain't done enough. Level up, level up. Tryna see a check, I'ma run it up. Yeah, I do a lot, still ain't done enough. Never lose, should've had better luck. I'ma wake 'em up from a slumber. Money ain't nothing but a thing, and the level ain't nothing but a number. Life ain't nothing but a game. Level up, level up. Never lose, should've had better luck. Tryna see a check, I'ma run it up. Yeah, I do a lot, still ain't done enough. Should've had better luck. Tryna see a check, I'ma run it up. Yeah, I do a lot, still ain't done enough. Level up, level up. Tryna see a check, I'ma run it up. Yeah, I do a lot, still ain't done enough. Never lose, should've had better luck. I'ma wake 'em up from a slumber. Money ain't nothing but a thing, and the level ain't nothing but a number. Life ain't nothing but a game. Level up, level up. Never lose, should've had better luck. Tryna see a check, I'ma run it up. Yeah, I do a lot, still ain't done enough. Ball. Waking up meant that he gave me a chance and I'm rolling the dice. I do it all. Living like I'm trying to go for the platinum trophy in life. Who can you call? Really nobody, so you should just follow me on your device. And know if she chillin' with me, then it's bound to be chemical X and the sugar and spice. Game in the system, but game is the hobby. I'm probably cocky, but hot as wasabi. I mean, if it's beef, then you know where to find me. My because is ready and so is my body. You should be running and telling your posse and what's in the speakers and what's in your potty. And she trying to kick it, but this ain't karate. Just keep that shit down while I'm watching Tsunami. I ain't saying I'm a super nerd, but I told you when we got involved, my idea of a perfect date is a PlayStation and some alcohol. I was role playing on GTA. I'm a good guy, but I got it all. If the world should end, be the first to leave, but the last of us acting naughty, dog. Level up, level up. Never lose, should've had better luck. Tryna see a check, I'ma run it up. Yeah, I do a lot, still ain't done enough. Level up, level up. Tryna see a check, I'ma run it up. Yeah, I do a lot, still ain't done enough. Never lose, should've had better luck. I'ma wake 'em up from a slumber. Money ain't nothing but a thing, and the level ain't nothing but a number. Life ain't nothing but a game. Level up, level up. Never lose, should've had better luck. Tryna see a check, I'ma run it up. Yeah, I do a lot, still ain't done enough. Never lose, should've had better luck. Tryna see a check, I'ma run it up. Yeah, I do a lot, still ain't done enough. Level up, level up. Tryna see a check, I'ma run it up. Yeah, I do a lot, still ain't done enough. Never lose, should've had better luck. I'ma wake 'em up from a slumber. Money ain't nothing but a thing, and the level ain't nothing but a number. Life ain't nothing but a game. Level up, level up. Never lose, should've had better.
What's going on, people? Fame Entertainment here from level1gamer.com, and congratulations, you guys are leveled up to 198. This is the Double XP podcast. We have a lot of topics to go over tonight. We're talking Xbox Game Pass as usual, and why not? We're getting those. We are getting those JRPGs that so many fans are wanting to get. Halo Infinite has a new view. You get to see Master Chief, not just his cheeks, but in a different view in Halo Infinite. We're going to talk about a popular YouTuber being banned from a video game and much, much more. Before we get started with all of that, I want to tell you guys, if you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button because it helps us out a lot. Also, smack the hell out of that like button because it helps us out a whole bunch. We have an amazing guest with us tonight who I will be introducing. He's going to get his time to shine because we got to talk to this man. But first up, with the introductions, the man with the clamps, Citizen Snips.
What's going on, everybody? Glad to be here. Thankful for our lovely audience. I usually try and say something funny, but I don't know. I'm kind of out of ideas today, so I'm just gonna let everybody look at Baron. That's pretty hilarious.
Whoa.
I'm just kidding.
God damn.
I love you, bro.
Next up, the host of Cogs in the Machine, and my right hand, man, the floor hugger with the hard R.
Oh, here it's Hard R still here. What's
It's
up,
still
guys?
here.
I'm glad to be back. Glad to have another week with you. Make sure you go watch yesterday's Cogs. Chakalaka got a nice schooling on Tomb Raider and just the gloriousness that was Polygon Titties. And we're gonna continue that. And I love you guys. And I'm so glad our guest is here, looking handsome, looking like a snack. And let's get into this. Fame brought it up. Let's get into Master Chief's cheek meat.
Next up, the #1 reviewer at LV1Gaming.com. If it's a AAA, we're going to get a review code for it, and this man go review it. He got no problem spending $2,000 on the PS5 because he got the bread, baby. Chakalaka, what's going on, brother?
Jeez.
Hey, honestly, thank you, David. You really are feeding my ego, so I love it. And Pat, I need you to do the same. I need a Chakalaka is so damn fine or something like that.
Only floor hugger gets that love, sir. Next up, the host of Starcross Gamers. And also, if your DMs are popping and your email box is likely full, that's because the communications rec at level1gaming.com trying to get a hold of you, baby. Baron Jones, what's going on, Chief?
Oh, we doing governments. I'm with it. I like this. Okay, so y'all can find you know what? I'm just glad to be here, and PAX is around the corner. I'm trying to figure out if I'm gonna wear a titanium mask or am I gonna wear the full head garment
Or
and be
thong.
walking around, or you know what? I should just wear the outfit that Master Chief is not wearing in the Halo series, because that should definitely be enough to protect me since I'll be in a battleground state.
You going cheeks out?
No, the outfit that he's
Master
not
Cheeks.
wearing.
Oh, gotcha.
Master Cheeks. I like that. That's gonna definitely that's catching.
Last but not least, I'm so happy we were able to get this man on the show today because he is a very popular figure in this gaming space. Has done so much for the community. Has grinded his way up. This man been doing so much work. From Spawn on me, Kahlief Adams. What is going on, brother?
What up, beautiful people? What the deal be? I hope y'all doing well. Hope everybody's having a wonderful evening. Lots of great energy in the room already. We talking about butt cheeks. We talking about talking about polygonal nipples. It's all these things happening in the conversation already.
I love that.
So I'm ready.
Polygonal nipples.
That's new.
Let me write that one down, actually.
Yeah.
Right in the nipple.
Is that a shadow of a nipple or is that a nipple?
Oh.
Tonight, so.
I have to go and look up. I got to dive in the internet. Sorry.
Before we jump into any topics, right? We want to come right over to you, Kahlief, because you've had an amazing journey, especially over the last couple of years. You finally been getting that love and that notice that that you should have been getting a long time ago, but you're starting to get it now. So I want to talk to you and ask you, how has your journey been over the last couple of years? Because you've really made an incredible name for yourself and your podcast. You got the Spawnies, and I'm sorry, Jeff Keighley. I had so much fun, more fun at the Spawnies than I did the Game Awards, because everything about it was on par. It was on point. The music, the presentation, it was right to it every step of the way. So kind of give us a little backstory about yourself, your growth over the last few years, and of course the Spawnies, man. We got to hear about that.
Well, first of all, thank you for the amazingly kind words. I really do take that stuff to heart. I really do absorb that because it's hard to do a lot of this stuff, especially when you're doing it for the first time, and trying to do things that nobody's really kind of done before. So for folks who don't know, I'm Kahlief Adams. I run the Spawn on Me podcast. I've been doing that for coming up on a little bit over 9 years. We did our first show a very long time ago, and are still pushing almost to year 10, coming up in January of next year. I started off in the IT space. I was an IT help desk cat, and I was sitting at my desk one day, and I was like, "Yo, I hate all y'all." I was like,
Love
"Man,
it.
I wish I knew how to understand how to type and use mice. Y'all suck." And I was feeling bad about my life. And then kind of went into the blogging space, did that for a couple of years, and then learned very quickly that people don't like to read my writing. And I was like, I know how to read. I'm not Floyd Mayweather. But but it wasn't a thing that really connected with people in a real in a real way. So I decided to kind of go in the route in the route of the podcast.
You read this chapter of Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll trade my literacy for his bank account any day.
I just want to do a whole YouTube special where I take Floyd Mayweather and DJ Khaled and take him to the library.
DJ Khaled does himself, bro.
It'll be the longest show on the planet.
Oh my God.
But it was all those things that, I grew up in the podcasting space within the gaming sphere. Big fan of a lot of legacy shows that we saw in the space, Giant Bomb, One Up Show, all those kinds of things back in the day. And felt like there wasn't a space for us in it. I just didn't see us in those spaces. A lot of people of color, black folk especially. And was like, yo, let's try to figure out some way to kind of make that happen. So pulled my homie Cicero Holmes into the mix. Shout out to Cicero, Stubby Stan. And then later on, Shreve Jackson, who's star of Rivals of Waterdeep. If you're checking out and looking for some tabletop stuff, some D&D stuff, go check that out. And then we started to build a really dope coalition. I think, we decided that we wanted to spotlight people of color, underrepresented folks, wanted to talk about all the things that people kind of talked of in ways that they were like, yo, we can't talk about sex. We can't talk about race. We can't talk about all these, air quote taboo things. And I was like, yo, bump that. Let's figure out ways to talk about this stuff because, I don't lose all of those pieces of connective tissue when I put on my console, when I put on my game for the first time. Those things don't leave me. My prism of blackness doesn't leave me when I'm having those conversations. So how can we talk about games from that layer and hopefully, get people to vibe with us in that way? So almost 10 years later, we're still pushing. We're moving in a bigger direction now in terms of what's the next kind of steps for not only the media space for black and brown folks in the gaming layer, but also like how do we give ourselves the props that we deserve? I love that what you kind of shared in the beginning of the show about, where are we at right now? And I think right now is a really fantastic moment in gaming where, yes, there's a lot of things that we need to figure out in terms of the upkeep of the space. There's a lot of different ways that we as underrepresented folks are still not getting our due, but there's also a layer in where, having done this for a long time, there is so many avenues in which you can have a voice now that wasn't there for us 10 years ago, right? So I like to focus on those things. I like to focus on that positive layer of it, and I want to want to do stuff as opposed to just talk about the stuff they wanted. So I think that's where it's kind of landed, and that's where how I've gotten here.
I think that's an amazing point. People who want to do stuff and not talk about stuff, because a lot of people talk and a lot of people say they want to do X, Y, and Z, but not everyone wants to put in the work. Not everyone wants to be up 4 remember 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. We're fixing the website. Not everyone wants to be constantly going through emails. And me and Ben are going through emails, checking, sending out stuff, and talking to people, and communicating, and networking, and writing articles, and editing. And that's a really big point. A lot of people really want. Like I think it was Kevin Hart. Everyone wants to be famous, but nobody wants to put in the work. That's like a big important thing, and a lot of people. Not just in our community, I think in general, everyone wants to be seen, everybody wants to be famous, but no one wants to put in the time and dedication that comes with that. Now, your growth, it seems like you have your ceiling is through the roof, right? And you had the Spawnies, right? I want to go over to the Spawnies and how that sort of came about, because that's one of those things where I'm really hoping we see the next iteration. We're seeing sponsored by. Like, I want to see more and more people pick up, because you are bringing in a whole new type of show. Again, love Jeff Keighley, love what he's doing at the Game Awards, but it feels different. And it feels more. Now, I don't want to say more us, but it's definitely more. I can
Grounded.
see. Yes, it's more grounded
It's
in my
grounded.
opinion. So your thoughts on, or not your thoughts, but your words on how the Spawnies came about, and what are you looking to see and get from the Spawnies moving forward?
So interestingly enough, I think one of the kind of dope things about the Spawnies is, and if you're not familiar with the Spawnies, it's we're trying to do a yearly Game of the Year show, where the foundation of that is a lot of times when you're finishing your games, you're going through the credits of a game, and you'll see folks' names in there, and you're like, that doesn't see that, from the stereotypical versions that we think of people's last names, right? You're like, oh, that's a name that doesn't seem to be one that I would think of in terms of like that's a white Anglo-Saxon person in that space who's taking that. That doesn't seem like another white guy making games kinds of name. And knowing that, one of the kind of thrusts of Spawn on Me and all this stuff has been when I first started to do this, I was like, look, I know there are people who look like me making games. I know there are people who look like us making games. We never hear about those folks. The conversations that we hear about us in the space is what games we playing, what influencers are in that space who are doing things in that context and in that conversation. But you never hear about us as being makers. We're always in the conversation about being consumers. And I think that layer of being a consumer is important, and I'll talk about that in a second. But I think the part that is the thing that is inspiring is knowing that everything that we touch as a culture is hot. There's nothing that happens on this planet that's been dope that hasn't had us involved in it.
Crocs champion brand, but I'm gonna stop.
Anything. That's what I'm saying, though. It's one of those things, right? Where we have turned stuff that wasn't meant for us into the hottest thing on the planet. Tim's, Crocs, G-Shock watches. For a minute, like everything. We were the only folks on the planet who made hockey jerseys, though.
Yeah.
When you think about our impact to the culture and everything that we touch, that also goes into the conversation around video games in a major way. So the Spawnies is a way to address that in a real way, right? Of saying there are got to be people who look like us who are making stuff across that section of stuff. So the idea is, for about an hour and some change, we're going to bring you a show that is going to be based on and have a huge infusion of our culture within it. So that comes in through the music. That comes in through, luckily I run the thing, so we've kind of branded it with a lot of stuff that is attached to, ideas or sayings or conversations. So the Spawnies as a concept isn't new because we were doing those kind of long form Game of the Year discussions when it was all three of us on the show. Where we came up with these names for these categories, where that's where I think we're very, very different. So like our game, the fake currency, the virtual currency for our show is the Chicago Cheddar Bay biscuit. It's the Red Lobster Cheddar Bay biscuit. That's the currency of our fake land in Chicago, the mashup of Brooklyn and Chicago, where both of the hosts were when we started the show. And then it goes into kind of means of stuff that we had seen within Black culture. So like I remember this video that came out that was called "The Longest Cry Ever," and there was a moment where the guy is talking to a father and son are talking to each other, and he's like, "You don't love me no more," and he has the ugliest cry ever.
I remember that video. It's hilarious.
Yeah, right. So that was the impetus for the Snot Bubble Cry award.
Bubble.
Right, so that's the Snot Bubble Cry Award, the most emotional game. Our Ease on Down the Road game is a riff on the Wiz. Again, so it's like all these things that touch Black culture, touch Brown culture, and how do you make that into something hot that is not like the Game Awards? You know what I mean? Something that is very different. I think of that show as the kind of the Oscars in terms of what it's going for, and we're a mashup of the BET Awards, but more not the full award show because I don't want nobody to get stabbed. But you remember the cipher moments within the BET Awards? Those moments are what I think the Spawnies can be, right? That energy is where I think we land in that conversation that changes that in a real way. So I think it's about infusing Black and Brown culture into the gaming space in a real way. How do we talk to an audience that no one is capturing that's the main thing. When I talk about the consumerism part, no one is talking to our audiences in the gaming space in a real way. They will do it during Black History Month. They'll do it when something bad happens, but they won't do it when it comes into spaces of understanding that we as a consumer block, as folks with money and influence, are the highest spenders. We are the most folks who index on everything that is pop culture. If there's anything that has ever been hot on in entertainment spaces, it's usually Black women who are the ones who are leading and driving.
Yep.
So there are all those things that are in that conversation that, you know, I'm learning to be able to leverage and learning how to talk about, and learning how to kind of get into those spaces in those boardrooms and in the hood. And it's like, how do you mash that up into a show that we can all celebrate games in a way that is different than what we've seen so far? So that's the idea around it. And I think the first time that we did it, you know, we had almost 350,000 people come through and watch. We over-indexed like 4.5 million of visibility from a social media perspective in terms of reach. And we had some great sponsors who came along for the ride, which was dope because we needed that financial backing to kind of help. But now we're trying to figure out what the next layer is and build it even bigger for next year.
Hey, listen, man. Whatever you guys do, I know it's going to be a hit, man. Watching you grind and break your butt off, it's definitely going to be hitting, and we're going to be there as a team cheering you guys on. I mean, we was there like, hey, what are y'all doing? Because if you're not in the spawnies, you messing up right now, right? So definitely, we definitely looking forward to next year. And again, man, before we get into the topics, I want to thank you again for taking time out to rock with us today, man, because it was definitely appreciated to have you on here with us today. But we're gonna jump right to the first topic of the day, and we're gonna talk a little bit of Halo Infinite. We got two things to discuss. First up is a mod that actually was out not too long ago. But it's starting to gain traction. And I'm going to put this up on the screen for you guys. It is a Halo Infinite third-party mod. And I'm going to tell you right now, I want it. Okay? This is different. I don't want this to be what Halo is moving forward. However, this looks really good. Just being able to see your Spartan, to see Master Chief and watching them glide and use his abilities, and you seeing the packs glow up on his back, you seeing them dodge, do things like that. It is that. Again, I don't want Halo to change its format for the mainline games, but if you were to tell me that this type of Halo game was being made by pick a developer, I'd check it out. Because if you guys remember, there was also a Lego style game. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. It wasn't Legos, another company. Big Blocks or
they were gonna do a Mega Blocks?
Mega Blocks game. There was a canceled Halo Mega Blocks game. And if you go and look up that gameplay, it looks pretty dope. Like definitely something you want to check out. But I want to go to the panel and I want to start with I guess Kahlief. Number one, are you someone who plays Halo? And two, what do you think about this third person mod?
I do play Halo. I like stuff like this. I like to see folks who are kind of like thinking outside the box with it. I think one of the conversations that we saw with Infinite was everyone before it came out, and we got a chance to see the multiplayer. That was the first conversation a lot of people were kind of digging into. They were like, is there going to be some version of a BR in the space, right? And seeing this kind of third-person version of it, I'm rocking with it. I like to see people do stuff like this and think outside the box and play in spaces that people haven't done before with IP that's already been out there. So this is dope. I think I'd love to see them actually make it happen.
Baron, I know I dragged you into a lot of Halo. And this game I have on screen right now, this is sort of what the Halo game was supposed to look like. It's in this form. For those wondering what the heck is Mega Blocks, it was kind of in this form right here. That's what the council game is. But Baron, I want to switch over to you, man, because we play a lot of Halo together. Your thoughts on this third-person mod, and would you be down for this type of game happening sometime soon?
I think this would fill that third person over the shoulder, deep lore gap that Xbox always misses out on when it comes to the awards. You heard me. I've said it plenty of times on the show. Xbox needs to just go ahead and make a third person over the shoulder, deep story, cinematic. They need to just go ahead and do it. And with this mod and with Master Chief's butt cheeks on what is it? Paramount Plus. We're already halfway there. Now just merge them together and you have that award win, and then you need that soundtrack. It needs to. It's gotta be, But that's all they're missing, and then they got it. You got Master Chief's butt cheeks. You got emotion. You got the evil beginnings and the transition and not the coming of age story, the redemption story. And then what better way to make it up to humanity and all the things you used to do wrong than to save all of humanity. And it just, I'm telling you, it sells itself. Like, they would win so many awards.
Here's my question for you, real quick: Is the cheeks out a power up?
Oh, it would. Somebody would definitely mod it in on the PC version where it's like you come across a mushroom and you lighten up like Mario.
Clapping mode. You just see them cheeks.
All you have is a sword, because of course you can't see the front. So all you have is your sword. You
just pop the sword and then do the brown.
No, but.
Anyway.
Oh my god! You hear the horns? I want to run! Yeah. Hey, no, but
I broke it.
But serious, like I think this. All jokes aside, this would be a great way to still stay on brand, because we already know the Halo brand is going to sell. Mm-hmm. It's going to sell. It's going to move. You don't have to. I mean, Halo RTS sold. The Halo TV show, which is not rooted heavily in the lore that we know,
number one show on Paramount Plus.
You have and then we know the game wins on multiple platforms as a franchise.
Yeah,
it wins on PC, mobile, or can you play it on mobile? Yeah, you can. Yeah. Huh? Or am I true? Yeah, and we know it wins on console. So, and then if this gets enough traction, they have to at least talk about it. They have to sit in a boardroom and talk about it.
I want to move over to Chakalaka, but I think this would be a perfect excuse to, because we all know Microsoft is all about player games anywhere. If Sony allowed them, Game Pass would be on PlayStation, right? We know this, right? If Sony allowed it, right? What a great opportunity for them to say, hey, we have a third person over the shoulder cinematic dark deep-rooted Halo game. Hey, Sony, go ahead and we'll publish us on your platform. But Chakalaka, as someone who is deeply rooted to the PlayStation fandom, would a third-person over-the-shoulder cinematic Halo game interest you at all?
Halo already interests me plenty as is, but I will say this. First off, that what I saw right there looks like a breath of fresh air for the franchise.
It does.
Is definitely something that was rejuvenating. Secondly, when it comes to me, I like having it all. Right? I want to have my cake and eat it too. So I propose that we EA Star Wars Battlefront this, where you can just press a button and toggle between first person and third person at your own leisure.
Talk about head glitching.
Oh. Oh my God. Multiplayer would be no fun, bro. Like, no. Campaign only, sir. I wouldn't.
Oh, talk about head glitching. I'm sorry.
Hurt.
Fair enough.
No, it's not. Look, it's not bad. I think that would be a dope way to fix it, because clearly it's already able to be done. Like, we're seeing it happen in real time. It's not like some mind blowing, But I don't know. I wonder what they going to hire the person on, whoever made it.
I want to get to some of the chats here. Yosemite Blam says this looks so hot, and they can fix the animation. Yeah, you go in there and tweak it. It looks great. Dragonheart Yobi in the building, he says, floor hugger, the one and only Queen Hugs. Yes, sir. Definitely. Who we got in here? Yosemite Blam again says, I want Halo to change it up like they did the console FPS. Keep innovating Halo. And that's the key. You don't want it to get stale. It's not like, Mario is still a 2D side scroller, right? It had to evolve. It had to change. And Halo is an iconic franchise to where I think you could branch off. You can branch off and allow, because you did it with the RTS, right? The same thing with Gears. You make something different. You branch off and make a 20-hour third-person cinematic game, not done by 343. Let somebody else take care of it. I want to switch over to you, Citizen Snips, and your thoughts on what we're looking at right now, which is the third-person mod. This video was done by Opulent Halo. I want to make sure I give him credit here. This was actually been out a little while, but it's starting to catch more steam now. But your thoughts on what we're seeing, Citizen Snips?
So the mod looks cool. I have no issues with that. I wouldn't mind future mainline Halo games having a third-person view as an option. Like you said, for campaign, would need to probably keep PvP as FPS only. But I feel like most people are. I feel like they're overhyping it, honestly.
Oh.
I don't think a change in perspective completely overhauls the franchise and refreshes it or anything like that. I think it's a pretty minor change. It's just something slightly different that you're seeing now, but the gameplay's the same, the mechanics the same. If anything, I prefer mainline Halo titles to stay first person because they are aim intensive. And I like that first person view I want to focus on my target, not on my character's back. That being said, I do think there's room for a branching of the Halo franchise into other titles, something like a Gears or a Mass Effect type kind of more narrative driven gameplay experience that is a third person mode. I'm all for that. I think it'd be fun. That world gives you a crap ton of lore and so much that you could do in that space that I'd love to see a Mass Effect-esque Halo game. But don't make it a mainline Master Chief franchise. I think you need to. This is your opportunity to take that massive, giant universe and go in a different direction. Do something different. Show me somebody else. Because Lord knows, like you create such a literal universe you have created, and every game is about the same person. And it's like I like that. Don't get me wrong. I liked Halo Infinite. I had a blast with the campaign. But I think you have so much more potential to go in rather than trying to completely redo the thing that's been working for you really well also. You can keep that going and try something new at the same time. And it's kind of my same, since we kind of mentioned the show as well. That's my one little kind of irk with the show is I have no issue with the creative minds behind the show saying, no, we didn't really look at the game's lore too much. We wanted to create our own story. Cool. That's really awesome. But then don't use like the primary characters that the games all revolve around. Like, if you want to do that, make new characters. Like, again, this world isn't just Master Chief. It's an entire universe full of people. You have so much potential to do stuff and grab key points from the lore and use it however you want. But I feel like it's a cop-out to be like, yeah, we want to go in a new direction with the story, but we're going to rely on these same characters because we don't know if people will watch it otherwise. Like, yeah.
See, I have some friends who are really deep into Halo lore, and from my understanding, Silver Team doesn't exist. That was made for the show, so I do like that they added some new elements to it.
And that human lady who's with the Covenant. I don't know.
Spoiler.
Apparently human. Yeah, it's in the first episode.
It is in the first episode, bro.
Yeah,
come on now.
Hey, I just got to be that guy.
Really,
Yeah.
I'm gonna move over to Floor Hugger here really quickly, but I want you guys. This is the Mega Bloks Council game apparently, and I'm as childish as this looks, I would play this. I'm sorry, this would be something I would pick up. It would have been no more than 10 hours long to beat, and I think my kids would enjoy it too. This actually looks pretty dope, but I hate this with Council, but this is something different. I think you would really get people in the Roblox crowd to play this game. But again, it's
your kids would be spending all your money on this game.
Probably. I need Spartan bucks.
Yeah.
Oof, my body just ate.
God,
I'm
no.
seeing this footage. All I'm thinking is pew 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 pew.
Pew,
But-
pew, yep.
Floor Hugger, my sis, you get the last word on this third person over the shoulder Halo Infinite mod.
I'm surprised it looks as decent as it does because you guys know that when you take a first-person game and make it third-person, quite often it looks awful. You can see it in Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk is gonna get ripped on forever. Once there was a third-person mod for that, and it was janky as all hell. It looks
to
good.
Be,
It
to be
reminds.
fair, that game itself was janky as all hell.
Yeah, you're not wrong there. You're not wrong there. But yeah, when you take a first-person game and make it third-person, it doesn't usually work out well. But the fact that it looks so decent, it reminds me a little bit of Mass Effect, a little bit of Anthem with the how you can fly. The flying looks more intense in this. Technically, you're not flying, but your jumping looks more intense for the third person. If they can make it into a spin-off game, I would definitely play it because there's a lot of people that, you know, don't play the single player or don't play the multiplayer like Call of Duty. So if there's something to appease a new crowd and bring a new crowd of people into the Halo franchise that maybe are intimidated to play the multiplayer or don't know the story of the single player, then I think why not? Gears can have a RTS game, Halo can have a third person over the shoulder game.
I'm with it. Listen, if you guys are watching, do us a big favor, hit that like button because it helps out a whole bunch. And we're going to continue talking Halo. And I'll go back to our guest today, Kahlief Adams. GameSpot put out a piece yesterday. Today. It's actually today. And I do want to get your thoughts on this, Kahlief, because apparently there are more people playing Halo Master Chief Collection on Steam than there is Halo Infinite. Now, this will likely change when Season 2 begins. But your thoughts on, are you worried because why would a game that's haven't been out a year doing less numbers than a game that's been out for a couple of years now?
Ooh, I mean, well, if you think about it this way, the biggest knock on the game right now for Infinite is a lack of content. Right, so you have MCC that has been out for how many years now? Like 2 years, 2.5 years, maybe even more than that. And they've built up so many different layers because that a big collection of so many different parts of that ecosystem where you have that familiarity with not only the content that's in it, but you have all the things that you were hoping for to be in Infinite. You have the maps that you wanted to play. You have a lot of the game modes that are already in there that you had so much time to build up your arsenal for all the things they did for the Rex and all those things that are in those games. So it makes a lot of sense in terms of why folks are going back. If you really had that Halo fix and you're not getting it in Infinite, to be able to go back to that game that played really well and be able to find all that stuff to get your Halo shooting it in a real way. So it makes a lot of sense.
You don't think there should be any concern of the fan base dropping Infinite? You think it'll have a resurgence? Because I just showed the Season 2 trailer, and I'm gonna be honest, I didn't go back to MCC. I don't have it installed, but I stopped playing Infinite not too much longer after I finished the level the battle pass, and I finished that fairly quickly. You don't think there should be any concern at the moment?
I mean, I think, to be fair, I think those folks have already been shook for a minute, to be honest. I think going into, even if you think about the way that they have rolled out information and rolled out the conversations around Season 2, and you go back and you talk to those folks, you see them having those conversations on Twitter and stuff. A lot of them are definitely worried about what it's going to look like and if folks are going to come back for Season 2. I think they're doing a lot of second guessing on, should they have waited until Forge was ready? Should they have waited until Campaign had co-op in it? Should they have waited until they had their Battle Pass stuff together? But I think for them, as a company who has seen other folks do this in this way, it is different when it's your baby, right? It's very different when you have to try to figure out, and think about it this way, for the IP that they have, right? You have a ridiculous amount of lore. You have a lot of different kind of pieces of stuff that will, for a battle pass would lend well to that thing doing okay. But on the other side of that, even when you think about each of those pieces, armor, all that stuff, it's still really generic. If you compare it to a game like Apex, right, where a lot of that is around personalities of the folks that you're playing, that gives you and lends to how you design for skins and weapons and stuff like that. Halo doesn't really have that in that way, at least from what I've seen over the years, even when they were doing it fairly well. So I think yeah, they're definitely shook in a lot of ways. They're really banking a lot on Season 2. And if Season 2 doesn't really kick people back into gear, then they're in a lot of actual trouble for that game.
No, definitely. I'm right there with you. I want to move over here to the chat just a little bit. We got some names in here. RWK88 says, first time listening. Thank you, my brother. Thank you for coming in and rocking out with us. We really appreciate it. Welcome to the show. Rail says, Halo Infinite needs more maps and guns. Indeed, that is actual factuals. It needs more maps ASAP. I'm really hoping season 2 brings in a lot of new maps, a lot of new guns. Get me back in because I am ready. I got my $10 queued up for the battle pass. I'm ready to drag Baron back into the game. I'm excited for that. King Kachi says, ooh, Hugger and the crew is back. Yes, this is the Hug Cast. We are back up and rolling. Speaking of people that I drag into video games, Baron, I'll move over to you. Should folks be concerned or not about Halo MCC outshining Halo Infinite at the moment?
I want to see the game we were supposed to get at console launch. I want to see that game. Anytime we talk about Halo, I bring this up. I need a documentary to come out 10 years from now explaining what was going on with this, because this has to be one of the biggest flubs that is not considered a flub, at least within like just normal day-to-day gaming conversation. We've ripped on Cyberpunk, rightfully so, because they promised a lot, under-delivered, not because the game was terrible, but because they promised too much and didn't hit the mark. Halo Infinite is on the cover of the box for the current gen console. It was marketing with Butterfinger, energy drinks. There's a Nerf toy that came out, like
the Needler and the Mangler.
The Needler,
All right.
yeah. How is this not one of? And I'm somebody who this is still my 2000. I want to say this is my 2021 most played game because I was dragged there. I'm not gonna say Crunch exists here at level 1, but
come on, don't be lying.
Look, so how is this like? Of course they're terrified. I think they should just be happy that they're not getting the backlash that Cyberpunk got. Like, I think that may be why they're kind of playing it safe, because it's just like maybe somebody's gonna lift the lid and really smell what happened here. Like come on. They walked away pretty clean, in my opinion, with this scenario. this bro, Houdini. These folks are legends. I want to shake hands with their PR and marketing. Like, because how do you walk away from this clean? But yeah, so they need to come with more maps, more guns.
Whatever game was supposed to be at launch, whatever that wasn't a game.
I want to play it.
Whatever state Halo was in when it was supposed to release, that was not a game. That was Mega Bloks.
Are the bodies still okay? You know what made me mad? My biggest complaint, and I don't mean to heart, because once again, Halo, I got over 100 and I finished the battle pass well before the Tenrai event even.
You ain't even touched the story yet, have you?
No, sir. But look, so can you ride the side of the tank like in Halo 2 crossing the bridge?
Yeah.
Can I ride on the side of the tank if somebody's driving it?
Oh. No, because there's no co-op yet.
Look!
There's no co-op yet.
That was such an iconic moment. Hanging on the side of the tank, you got your BR. That was such an iconic moment. But okay, look. I just want to play that classic build. But wait, one point, I'm gonna leave y'all alone about this. I was in my VR unit. I was playing Zenith MMO on the Oculus Quest. I'm in VR, and the game recognized me bumping into an enemy character and wouldn't let me pass through them. I don't know if Halo Online, Halo Infinite multiplayer has that recognition of.
Yeah, we go right through each other.
Yeah, that's a problem.
We go right through each other. We do. Chakalaka.
Meet that PRT.
Same question to you about MCC and Halo Infinite. Should that be any type of concern there?
Well, probably. So I looked into this. It came out in 2014, November 2014. So we're talking about a game that's 7.5 years old. And I would say in the sense that Halo Master Chief Collection is definitely more of a complete package, right? It's everything. It's kind of like the most Halo you can possibly want. And so I can see that they're for the hardcore Halo fans, you're gonna want to stick to that, right? And Halo Infinite has to be so much better in order to entice people away. And with even like 2 years ago, like at the launch of the Xbox Series X, it got its Series X patch. So everyone wants to play this bad boy in 4K and all those other cool features and stuff like that. So that being said, I mean, hey, if I'm gonna play Halo, I'm gonna play Master Chief Collection because I would rather not. I'm the type of person that wants to play the games in sequential order. So I would probably only add to that to the pile.
Now, I will say, I want to make sure that we address this. Like this is just Steam, okay? This isn't actual Xbox, okay? So the game most likely is playing. People are playing it more Infinite on Xbox. That could be the case, right? I want to bring it up because I got a comment here from Victor Alstein. Thank you for commenting, brothers. I think you guys are overthinking things. Halo has been shown to still be doing fine on Xbox. Steam's not the only place that counts. And then y'all know I'm bad with names. I apologize. I'll be butchering names. Okay. Germanic Ogre says the battle pass grind was rough. Based on the weekly resets, but even the daily, you only get 50 XP minimum per game. And I'm sorry, y'all, I probably destroyed the base of my heart and kidneys because I was getting Rockstar energy drinks like crazy, getting double XP. I would drink half the can, dump it. 2 XP code, give me 2 of them things. Like I probably took at least 6 to 8 months off my life trying to get double XP. But yes, I do want to say this is Steam, okay? I'm gonna move over to my sister, Floor Hugger. Your thoughts?
Halo is fine. Halo, yes, the content is slow, but Halo will be fine. And like Victor said, Steam is only one platform. It is what it is, and Halo could have a horrible game, and Halo will still be fine. Because I know you guys just said it. As soon as they drop content, you're back in, and I bet you that's what a lot of people are waiting for.
Most definitely. Citizen Snips, you get the last word.
So if you're asking me if I'm concerned, no, because as a consumer, I have 8 million other things to play. So if you don't keep up making me interested in your game, cool. Adios. I'll see you later. I got other stuff to focus on. Should the developers be concerned? Probably quite a bit. But the thing that I think it was that GameSpot article that we looked at for the that mentioned, that the MCC had more concurrent players recently than Infinite. The whole reason that it is that, and it says this in the article as well, is because they dropped new content for the Master Chief Collection, and thus a spike in players happen. So when you drop new content for Infinite, you will see a spike in players. It's not rocket science at this point. These games that exist, especially multiplayer reliant games like Apex, like Overwatch, like Valorant, the model that they use to keep people coming back is regularly releasing new content. Overwatch has hit a wall with that because of their development on Overwatch 2, so that's a little bit of an outlier at the moment. But Valorant, you're getting new skin bundles for weapons, like monthly, it feels like. New maps every other month. New agents are coming out. In Halo, you're somewhat limited in that because you can't do the new agents, new characters, unless they find a way to work some of that in. I can't understand how. But you need to be working in new maps, new game modes, new weapons, new cosmetics. And that cycle of constantly releasing new content is what helps keep your player base high. Anything nowadays, we're so spoiled with how quickly things change that if you give us something that plays the exact same over and over and over again, people are going to get tired of it and go play something else. So it's very, very simple. I think, yes, there is a problem, but the solution is right there staring them in the face. They just got to get on their cycle of releasing content and figure out how to make it work better. That's really it.
Snips, I'm gonna stay with you. First, if you guys are watching again, hit that like button because it helps us out so much. Subscribe if you haven't. Get your gaming news from lv1gaming.com. Snips, I want to stay with you, and we're not gonna be on this topic too long, but I do want to bring it up because it was a big point of discussion in the gaming space. And you, as someone who streams a lot on Twitch, and you play a lot of Valorant. Okay, popular, extremely popular YouTubers, over 7 million subscribers on YouTube. IShowSpeed was banned from Valorant. This follows his ban, I believe, from TikTok and Twitch. He's been banned from a lot of things, if I'm not mistaken, right? But he was playing Valorant, and that, mind you, I'm just going to preface this and saying this clip that's been shared out was from a few months ago. I also want to preference that this is a minor. Before anyone says anything in the not the panel but the comment section, remember, IShowSpeed is a minor, and I want to make sure I put that in reference that, because some people were trying to throw that aside, but it's important that he's a child. Okay, but he was playing Valorant online, and he said some demeaning things to a female counterpart who was later found out, and it was recorded. They were, being the R word. I don't know how YouTube is going to try to knock us out. Being the R word to him earlier in the stream. But he was banned because of those things. And I kind of want to go to you, Snips, because you are a streamer who does a lot of Valorant. Your thoughts on his ban, was it warranted? And is that sort of what we're getting from the Valorant community? Because again, I'm not going to say, well, back in the day, back when I was a child, they wouldn't survive Call of Duty lobbies, which is true, most people wouldn't. But
it's a tired rhetoric.
Yes, it is a tired rhetoric, right?
It's cheap.
At some point, people need to grow up, and realize wrong is wrong. But your thoughts on the ban, Snips, and your sort of ideas on how the Valorant community is at the moment.
So here's and it's not just Valorant. Toxicity is prevalent online in so many different forms. People like to be brave and say things that they feel they won't face repercussions for when they're hiding behind the screen. And they feel that they have that veil of protection, that they're online, they're not right there in front of you. When we were all growing up, if you tried to say some stuff like that to somebody, you didn't have, not until we were older, you didn't have instant messenger to say it. You had to say it to their face. And so you learned out pretty quickly, hey man, when I said this one thing, I got my ass whooped. Do I really want to say that again next time? You kind of gradually learn, and that shapes you as you mold. On the internet, there's very little repercussions for a lot of these people, so they tend to get a little wild with it. And the unfortunate part about it is it's extremely prevalent in the youth. We were all young once. When you're young, you don't know nearly as much as you think you do. And what's more dangerous is you think you know a lot more than you do. You act certain ways when people respond to it. And that's one of the biggest issues you're seeing with these young content creators is the average age of their fans is the same or younger than they are. So these aren't people who are more mature. They're not, more well-traveled or more less ignorant or anything like that. They're worse, if anything. So when you engage in bad behavior, they reward you for it by cheering and subscribing and following you. You start to condition yourself to say, man, people like this. They're eating this stuff up. I need to do more of it. And then when that becomes the basis for your content, that's when things really get out of hand really quickly. And I think that's kind of the situation that you run into with this young man. He failed to realize that, and I've seen people say that the what triggered him to talking like that, the way he was being treated, we'll say, wasn't in that particular game. It was in a different game. So I can't get into all that. I don't have all the evidence and all that, of course. Regardless, the fact remains of this. He didn't recognize that he's the one with the spotlight on him, right? You're the one with the viewership. You're the one with the following.
It's a big following.
Unfortunately, that puts you in a position where you have to be the better person in these kinds of situations. You can't stoop down to their level. It's not fair. I'm not saying that's the way it should be, but that's the way it is. And he's young. He probably is yet to learn that lesson. This ban probably will go a ways towards helping him in learning that lesson. And the other people, if they're ever identified and found out, I believe that they should face the same consequences. There shouldn't be a difference in how the punishments are doled out. I do think a ban was the right move. I don't think it should be permanent. I think there should be the opportunity, especially for younger people, to learn and grow from their experiences.
17, I believe. He's still a kid. I know a lot of people look at 17 like, oh, 17,
he ain't a baby, but he's still a kid.
Yeah.
He's
he can
got
sign
some
up for
stuff to
basic
learn,
training and go and fight for his country. It's
He
not a
was-
kid anymore.
He was old enough to know better,
Yeah,
but he's not so old that he shouldn't be given another chance.
another chance. And because we see so many people, and I mean, because we see so many people who are 20s, 30s, and they've done some egregious stuff on
This or
line,
worse,
and they're
yeah.
still popular. They're still millions of subscribers.
And the things that keep them popular, unfortunately, are the revenues that they generate for the platforms they represent. And that's the low down and dirty of the world is whatever brings in the bucks, they're going to let you get away with. And there's even a fame, I think you commented on Twitter on this. The real unfortunate part of all this scenario is the discrepancy in how certain people are treated when it comes to this kind of behavior. So this young man got banned. He's going to face some consequences from that. He's probably going to lose some revenue from his content creation and all that. And again, I think that punishment is deserved.
Yeah.
You can't be allowed to act like this. You can't be allowed to promote that kind of behavior. And more importantly, you can't be allowed to promote to the people that follow you that this kind of behavior is okay. Again, I hope he gets another chance. I hope he learns from it, and I hope things improve. But at the same time, Riot is simultaneously looking at a pro player, who I'm not going to name because I'm not trying to give him any kind of clout, but they're looking at a pro player who was banned for, I think it was 6 months from competitive pro play because he faced some sexual assault allegations. We're not going to go into innocent or guilty. There is some evidence that is out there. You can look into that on your own. But the biggest issue here is that he failed to cooperate with their investigation efforts. So you have somebody who's facing a very serious allegation. And if you're innocent, man, cooperating with an investigation sure goes a long way in making it look that way. But if you say you're innocent, but you don't want to cooperate with an investigation, that's kind of damning in and of itself, right? So you have somebody who has not been cleared of these charges, and he's being allowed to explore opportunities to return to pro play. So it's very, very asinine. It's very, very hypocritical to punish one. And these two individuals, they're not that far apart in age. This other professional player, I think he's in his very early 20s still. So it's really, really difficult to say, yes, we're gonna act properly. This kind of behavior shouldn't be tolerated. But this other person that does it, well, maybe he should get a second chance. Well, why not that guy? And if anything, what he did was quite a bit worse, assuming that it is true. Mm-hmm. But again, refusing to participate in the investigation really doesn't do you any favors. It's a very, the whole situation's really a mess. I just hope for consistency in enforcement of the ideals that they say they want to uphold, because it should be a place that's safe for anyone to come and play. It should be a place where people are free from being criticized. Like, I'm not against talking smack in video games, right? If you want to call me out for missing a shot, or saying I suck because I missed a play or I misread a rotation from an enemy or something like that, I can take that. That's fine. Most people should be able to take that. But when you start insulting people based on their appearance, their gender, stuff like that, that has no play. That's not trash talk anymore. You're taking it somewhere else. And that's the kind of stuff that really has no place in video games. And I just want to see an organization be upfront and consistent in how they choose to handle individuals who cross that line. That's it.
Spot on. Spot freaking on. I want to go to a chat here. Ryan Ginther says, love Level 1 Game. Keep up the good work. Shout out to ILP. Shout out to ILP, man. Putting me onto this channel last year. Also part of Team Paris. Just got to say, Kai can't cook. Much love to you all.
Give me his Riot ID. I'm going to get him banned. Give me your Riot ID.
Shout out to Paris. We had him on the show, I believe, last year. So it's good to finally complete the circle. I have Kai, can you quickly tell us, can Paris cook?
The funniest thing about all this stuff is neither one of us actually knows because we haven't actually. So we're hoping to actually make that a real thing where we actually check out each other's foods. But I've seen his stuff looks like Elden Ring bosses. My stuff looks like actual. So
Listen,
The shade.
a Spawny's cook-off live. would
The
do
hope-
numbers.
Ooh.
The hope is that we get a chance to get some sponsored dollars behind actually.
Oh yeah,
Make it
I want
happen.
to see some air fryers.
Somebody-
giving out.
Somebody hit up Big Green Egg and tell them to come sponsor
Yeah,
that.
something like that.
Yes, make it happen.
I wanted to add some stuff to what Snip's talking about too for IShowSpeed.
Oh, go right
So,
on ahead, brother.
We talked a little bit about that on the show too, where I was that was amazingly diplomatic in the way that you shared that stuff, and I appreciate that. I was way more icy than I talked about him on our show when I called him a professional screamer. And I was like, you got to understand, like 17 years old, yes, we understand that is a minor, yes. We also understand from the layers, and I love what Snip talked about when he talked about the kind of making sure that you're consistent within that space. So a lot of the stuff that we used to talk about when I was working at Riot was that we wanted to try to figure out good ways to be consistent. We had to hand down punishment and stuff like that. The folks who are on the enforcement layers of all of that, it is hard work to be able to go through all the tickets that you wind up getting. Because one of the conversations happened that I saw bubbling up throughout that conversation was, well, what happened? This happened so many months ago and all this other kind of stuff. The way that wind up happening, and shout out to Sis who put in the actual ban request, because you have to put in an actual like request for that stuff to happen, is a lot of times as an employee, depending upon if you're not within that kind of space where you're handing out bans and stuff, we don't see a lot of those things unless you're paying attention to it. The thing that he messed up on is that he was too big and tried to get away with a thing when you had that much. When you have 7 million subscribers, you can't dodge a ban.
Nope.
There's no way. Like you
Can't do your crimes in the spotlight. You gotta stick to the shadows. You know.
Yeah, like
Man.
even Batman has a cave. Like you gotta
Man.
like do your
Man.
shadows, fam. Like you can't do that stuff in that way. And to a certain extent, like I think that the interesting layer of that, which I found to be really interesting, so I shared my thoughts about it. I gave that woman props when in the chat on Twitter, and I had multiple people cape for fam in my mentions for days, who were calling me all kinds of coons and stuff and all this stuff because I was like, look, if you are gonna look at this behavior and expect people to rock with it, it is a telling thing about the way we think about who are the folks who are getting spotlights for the work that they do. What kinds of content are you making? And what does that say about the audience that you cultivate? That those folks are willing to say, you've called these people out of their names in the worst ways that you potentially can. No matter if you got provoked in that way. Yes, we're all humans. We pop off. We'll smack the man on the stage.
That's facts.
You know what I mean? Like people are going through what they're going through and all that kind of stuff. But that being said, at the age of 17, it's the same conversation we saw when people are racist talking about, well, I didn't say, that's not a thing I say all the time.
It's not something I say when people are listening.
Yes, that that was
Yep.
a game of words that I said. Like you don't get the chance to I don't remember when I am in those moments of being at my work, when I'm the most salty, when I'm getting teabagged by people beating me up in video games. I'm not running out and being like, you mothers. Like I'm not doing that, right?
True.
Like at a certain point, yes, I'm older. Yes, I've understand the space, but also you have people. There's a point where you get to there's no way that at 7 million subscribers,
You don't got a team.
you don't have a team. You don't have people. So that tells me that the people who you are working with want that content to be out there. They want that persona to be out there because they also know that that persona makes money.
Yeah.
And they are riding off your clout and riding off of your ability to be a jerk, because that is the main thrust of your content, is to be loud, obnoxious, and a jerk. And let that be a thing. Because even you think about the folks that are around that circle, not even just the folks that are in that team that are saying, I show speed, you can do that thing and be okay with it. Come out with your apology tomorrow and we'll figure it all out. Even if you look at the folks who are doing content who are in his circle, it is the same kinds of content. So it bubbles all of that up to say this is okay. It bubbles all that up to say, no, we don't care about the health of the game that you decided to be mean in. We don't care about the state of the world that you're trying to promote in this space. We care about you being a jerk and making money off of being a jerk.
Dollar signs.
Dollar signs, right? So it's like it's one of those things where, if he gets permaban, I'm down with him getting permaban.
Definitely.
Yes, there's a big discrepancy between the ways that some people get talked to and get worked with. Like, as a person who worked at Riot, I still don't understand why they support or give space to folks like Tyler One. Same conversation, right? Same kind of content. They banned him for a long period of time, but he's totally now doing a whole bunch of other stuff with them because they let him back in the gate.
Because of money.
Because
But it's also what you call it. Really quick, I just want to say, some of it is money, but also the other layer of that stuff is you have communities that go along with that energy and with that stuff, and that's what becomes a problem for your company. It's not because of the fact that you could lose those folks. Is because all of those folks are extremely loud. So you wind up harming other people, community managers, public relations, all those other things, because you allow those things to fester and you allow those things to rock, and you reward it by giving it more space to fester and continue to grow. So ban that cat. The worst he could do is make more money on YouTube. He's sad that he can't play Riot games for a little bit on that account.
On that account, exactly. And listen,
So,
I'm all for the ban. You do the crime, you pay the time. I'm all for that. The only thing I ask of people, if he's willing to, give him the opportunity to change, because he has time to do that in his life. You deserve the ban, you deserve your punishment, you deserve it. But if he's willing to, and he says he is in a recent video, give him the opportunity to change. If he doesn't, screw him.
Yeah, and I was about to say, if that concerns anyone, like, given the opportunity, we've seen it time and time again. If you look at human history, recent, however far back you want to go, even when given the opportunity to change, most people don't. So if that's who he truly is, if that's who he truly wants to be, it will show again. And then hey, your chance was there. It was given to you. You were young. We wanted to let you think it was, or we wanted to think it was a mistake that you made in the heat, passion of being young, not knowing any better. But you can't, just can't carry on with that, man.
Go ahead.
My only issue with this is we've seen other folks who are older get rewarded with levels in games, get whole like that. The duality of it. That's what kills me. If this was flat across the board, because once again, nobody's saying what he did was right. That's what not a soul is saying that. But I need to and some people, like, we know he's gonna continue to make money. Even if he got banned from every game, all that would do is spike his subs out the roof and more deals in another angle, and then he would go all the way bad guy and lean into it. But this is what I'm saying. We live in this is the same planet in the same space where somebody doing the whole image of being the bad person got a level in a very popular game, built it literal shrine. So that's all I want to see is a consistency as much as possible across the board. And it's kind of hard to go so heavy on this scenario when we live in the world post that. That's my whole issue with it. Not, once again, yeah, of course, get banned, bro. Like, come on. You really thought you were going to get away like just 100% with that? You really thought nothing was going to come of that? Like, come on, man.
Hey, just one thing. Oh.
No, go ahead.
Just want to leave you with this. My one thought on this is, like, you said at the very beginning of this topic is like, you wouldn't be able to survive Call of Duty lobbies in my day. But on the reverse side, I don't think we could have survived the Twitter shaming at their age, at the stuff that we did.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, so it's a different pressure. So there you go.
That's true. Listen, last topic before we get to suggestions, because we are at our time. So last topic will be rapid fire. I want to get your thoughts. I suck at pronouncing games. Eden Chronicle. I don't think I'm saying that right. It is a action RPG that will be launching day and date in Game Pass, and this is starting to begin a trend of Xbox getting more Japanese games, getting more JRPGs. So I'm gonna go around really quick around the panel. I'll start with, I guess, Kahlief. Your thoughts on because this and that was Edge of Eternity, which wasn't day one, but it's another JRPG. Xbox getting more of these titles. Kahlief, your thoughts on what's seeming to be a transition into what games that are coming to the platform.
I mean, that was what Uncle Phil wanted, right?
This is
He
true.
wanted it to move, more Japanese games towards the platform, and it's a really smart way to do it. Pull those folks in, have them connect to the space, and then give it to them basically for free to Game Pass. That's a triple win for them.
It's a day one. Barry, JRPGs, Xbox. Are we seeing a renaissance?
Yeah, kind of. I'll say yeah. We're seeing positive motion. Hopefully, I mean, well, yeah. Last 2 years, Japanese game show, Xbox headlined it.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's a huge step. I'm talking
Tokyo Game Show.
Face. Tokyo Game Show. Thank you. You see Phil's face first. First person talking to the crowd. Last 2 years, it's huge. It's nothing small.
Yep, and they're talking Game Pass, not the actual box itself. Chakalaka, JRPGs on Xbox. Is the tide starting to turn? Because when you look at console sales, man, Xbox can barely get out 300 sold consoles in Japan. But these games coming to Xbox. Your thoughts?
I was actually commenting on another podcast as well as even on my my review for Ghostwire Tokyo is that all things Japanese are in vogue right now. We talked about how like Tales had 1 million copies sold and stuff like that. It's like their highest selling series, highest selling game in the series. So I think all things Japanese are just they're no longer, in my book, they're starting to become less considered a niche and more mainstream. So this is only going to benefit Xbox as well when, this is going to, with a rise in popularity of JRPGs, we have JRPGs on Xbox Game Pass, and boom, suddenly it makes it that much more appealing to check out games.
Citizen Snips, is Game Pass the perfect avenue for Japanese games to launch onto the console for people to try out who probably normally wouldn't consider Japanese games?
Not just Game Pass, obviously, yes, but not just Game Pass. Give me my brand new major franchise JRPGs on Xbox, and I will gladly pay you full price. I know a ton of other people that would as well. Give me my Final Fantasies, my Personas, my Dragon Quests. I want all of it. These are amazing, incredible games. There's a reason that a lot of these franchises have existed for so long. There should be no platform that has to go without. Put them out on everything. Let everybody play these games. They're amazing.
Yeah.
All right, my beautiful sister, D. Flahugger, you got the last word, love.
Let it happen. More JRP. Jesus, JRPG.
More Jesus, always more Jesus, always.
More Jesus RPGs.
More Jesus.
More Jesus RPGs. Let it come. Let people play them. Let people enjoy them. The more video games people can play, the happier I am because there's more stuff to talk about each week when we talk about different games. So let it happen.
Beautiful. You guys know what time it is in the chat. It's time for suggestions. Shout out to Delilah HD from Grown Woman Gaming that's in the building. Jay Rampant, we see you guys. You guys know at the end of the show, we like to give suggestions for people to watch and or play for this week. You guys in the chat, drop a movie, drop an anime, drop a video game. I'll make sure to read that out. Make sure you guys drop those. We're going to start with the panel, go around the ring. Baron J67, what do you suggest for the people to watch and or play for this week?
Comey Can't Communicate. Netflix, please go watch it. I don't know if it's my full girl dad life kicking in or what, but rom-com anime has been my thing. So yeah, Comey Can't Communicate. It's actually really, really progressive.
Yeah. Yeah. Chakalaka, what do you suggest for people to watch and or play for this week?
I always like to just recommend what's out in theaters this week. So coming this Friday, it's Easter weekend, so we have a Mark Wahlberg dramatic movie called Father Stew, where he finds religion, and then of course you gotta completely 180 it and just basically watch a movie that my mom calls The Devil. That's Fantastic Beasts and the Secrets of Dumbledore. You know, she calls Harry Potter the devil and took away all my books from me. Can't read Harry Potter no more.
And my grandma was naming wizards, Pokemon, anything that was not a rosary was the devil. Like, hell no.
Pikachu is the devil. Shout out to the chat. Minnie Yeti says, watch Sonic 2 and Moon Knight Episode 3. Ryan says, second on Comey Can't Communicate. It's amazing, and Season 2 is on the way. Fuzzy Belvedere says, don't sleep on Insurgency Sandstorm on console. My brother, Citizen Snips, what do you suggest for people to watch and or play for this week?
So something to watch, new anime that just came out this season, Spy X Family. Looks like it'll be a really fun ride. It's about a international super spy type dude who has to undergo a new mission where he needs to like get close to somebody, and the only way to access him is through the school he takes his children to. So the guy has to go adopt a child, and it turns out the young girl he adopts is telepathic and can read minds. So it's a crazy little thing, but it looks like it'll be a real fun, like kind of, it doesn't seem like it'll be that heavy. It'll be pretty jovial, light, fun kind of comedy, cool anime. So go check that out. Something to play. I am embarrassed to say I had never played this game before. It had been on my list for a very, very long time, but I finally started playing it on stream this week. Chrono Trigger. Go play Chrono Trigger. I've only played 2 hours of it, and I love the ever-living heck out of it. I am biased, of course. I love my JRPGs, so it's a even without having played it before, it brings back a nostalgic feel for me. But go play it. It seems like it's going to be a really awesome game, and I'm loving it so far.
Back to the chat. Dragonheart says, Lego Marvel Superheroes. People sleep on Lego games, but has so much depth. Whisper Trip, new side-scroller, cyberpunk-ish action game, Dead Cells. Dallas says, go watch Arthur. Great show, indeed. Delilah HD says, Halo Episode 4 about the Master Cheeks. Ine says, Rising of the Shield Heroes Season 2. Next up, my sister from another Mr. Sis, what you got for this week?
I've recommended this before. You can watch it in a day, and if you guys know what this is, it's Kill la Kill. So go watch Kill la Kill. And sometimes you just need fan service. That's it.
Don't we all?
Flames of Founder says, horror anime, another. Last but not least, our guest for the evening, Kahlief Adams. What do you suggest for the people to watch and or play for this week?
Watch, if you're going to go to the movies, one of my favorite movies, I think now, Where It Went All at Once. That movie is ridiculously good, fantastic. You should definitely be checking that out. Something to play, a couple of quick things. Vampire Survivors on Steam is really, really good. That game is awesome. Not for Broadcast also is really fantastic. It's a game that's all based around full motion video, as if you are a person running a control room for a news broadcast. Super dope, really interesting and funny. And a thing that's coming out really soon is one of these bad boys. You should get a play date.
What is that?
These are
tiny.
new tiny
Like a
console.
Tamagotchi thing.
Not even. This is a new one that has a crank on the side of it.
What?
Used to play games on it. We're doing a review.
Is that how you charge it?
No, this is how you
This dude.
play games on it.
I have never.
The games are delivered to you. You get 2 every week, and it's coming out soon. It's not out yet.
Is it color?
It is a black and white display. So it's a black and white display.
What is it called?
Called the Playdate. It's from a group called
Playdate.
Panic out here in Portland, Oregon. So you'll see a lot of reviews dropping. That stuff. You'll see ours as well, and some fun stuff in that space. So if you're thinking about a new handheld console, that's going to be coming out soon. So
That's cool. Like I've never seen that. I'm about to check that out.
it's dope.
For me, Kahlief, Everything Ever All at Once. I have to go see that. That looks fantastic. For me, Sonic 2, Chef's Kiss. Sonic 2 is perfection.
A little
Video
long,
game. I love it. Give me this like I hate the fact that the next Multiverse of Madness, I hate that it's only 2 hours or so. Give me 16 hours, I'll be happy, right? It was so good, perfect. Idris Elba did his thing as Knuckles. Knuckles stole the show, did his even more so than Tails, and I love Tails. Knuckles stole the show. Idris Elba. We all had already made Knuckles black, and they got a black voice actor. It just made it absolutely perfect. Chef's kiss. And to play Thank you, Citizen Snips, for making me reinstall the game. MLB The Show 2022.
Oh, Lord.
I've been playing it on Xbox Game Pass. I was frustrated because I couldn't figure out how to bat. Everything was too early. And Snips told me, when you think you're going to swing, say don't swing and then swing. And now we're good. Because I was swinging too early on everything.
I just finally made it to the majors yesterday, so I'm with the big boys now.
No, I see. I'm still in AA, and I'm a switch hitting 2-way player. Love the game. Absolutely love it. But listen, Kahlief, I'm so happy that you took time out to hang with us today, man. It was definitely a pleasure picking your brain and getting your thoughts and just hanging out with you, man. We'd love to have you come back on again. We'll probably get Paris to come on again with you, and you guys could battle it out on Double X. I'm not sharing no screen with Paris. I'm not doing it. But listen, man, again, it was an absolute pleasure. It is a joy. It's a real joy to watch you grow in the space and the things that you have been able to accomplish, and knowing the things that you will accomplish in the future is amazing. Whether you know it or not, you and other content creators are creating a path for others, allowing us to be able to create our own stories, but the road not being as difficult as it would be. So I want to make sure that you are aware of that, and thank you, man, for all the hard work that you're doing.
Well, first of all, thank you all for having me. I think the energy that you all bring to this show is extremely important. I love the way you all banter between each other. I love the way that you talk about all this stuff in such a smart and fun way. I've been peeping stuff for a while, and getting a chance to be on with y'all really does make me feel really, really good. So thank you again for giving me a space to share the stage with y'all tonight. So I appreciate it.
Hey, man, Andy, I'm going to thank you so much. Tomorrow, we have Take Two, finally another Take Two. Me and my sister Floor Hugger will return. Thank you guys for about 30 to 45 minutes, roughly. Sunday, Starcross Gamers. Monday, I have a new 15 minutes of fame with a guest you guys definitely want to check out. He had a very important topic in his gaming space that's even more important now than ever that you guys want to check out. Tuesday, Cogs in the Machine, Chakalaka and Floor Hugger will be back. And next week, episode 199 of the Double XP Podcast. Listen, with all that said, congratulations. You guys leveled up to 198. This was Double XP Podcast. Get all your gaming news from LV1Gaming.com. Shout out to my brother Baron, who will be at PAX East doing his thing, making connections and being the great communication director that he is. You guys have a great one. And we're out.
All right, Marlon. Say
Sarangay.
cheese.
Peace.